What is shaking, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about how to use social media to grow your brand in 2022. I'm going to share with you some stories about a recent coaching call with a client that really opened my eyes to a lot of the big problems around social media and how to get through those big problems moving forward as social media continues to evolve. How, as business owners, are we going to keep up with this evolution? And how is that going to affect our mental health moving forward in 2022? So before we get into that, guys, real quick, if you haven't signed up for a brand assessment, I highly recommend you click. Well, all you have to do is really go to that URL right now and click on the button that says book a brand assessment. This is for specifically business owners that are stuck when it comes to their messaging, their positioning, their identity as a brand as a whole, and need some clarity, need some of their blind spots to be uncovered from someone like me who's been in the marketing and branding game for over 15 years and can see things that they can't see because they're so damn close to their business. So by uncovering those blind spots, you're going to be able to move forward and maybe move over some of those obstacles that you are facing. But I can't help you unless I do a thorough diagnosis first through that assessment. So that is for you guys to take me up on after this video if you need help in that case. With all that said, I want to bring in my man Owais Qureshi back into the mix. What's going on, Owais?
What's going on, man? Happy to be back.
Likewise, man. First week back with back-to-back 2 videos in 1 week.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks, but man, here we are. So today's topic of conversation is how to use social media to grow your brand in 2022. And, I want to start off by sharing a story with you. And for those folks that are watching live, I want to encourage you guys to drop some comments, drop some questions. The reason why we do these live is to interact with you because we want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you think about this topic as well, not just see two handsome guys chatting it up on live streams every other day on social media. So one of the big problems that was brought to my attention on this coaching call with one of my clients the other day was that here's a guy who built up a multiple six-figure business as a social media content manager and creator. Okay. And he's starting to feel a little burnt out in the game because now he's getting clients coming to him saying, well, look at that competitor over there. They got 1.4 million followers. Why can't we just do what they're doing? Now, let me give you some context here. So my client goes to that profile and he sees what's going on. It was on Instagram. He notices that the account only has 20 Instagram posts. 20. Like it's a half a scroll and then that's the whole feed. 1.4 million followers. And all the pictures, all the posts is this guy like standing in front of like fancy cars and houses and in the city life and, doing all that kind of stuff, right? All the flashy type of stuff, right? Meanwhile, my client's client lives in like rural Michigan, right? So my client's client couldn't be any more different than this guy that he's trying to compare himself to. And my client like kind of lost it a little bit. He said, I kind of went off because it hit me because he said, all this that my client wanted was just to be like this other guy. And I'm not gonna manage social media accounts for a bunch of Me Too brands. What do I mean by Me Too brands? Well, they're doing it, so I'm just going to do it. I'll be another Me Too brand. I'll just do what they're doing. Because there's this thing that, listen, success leaves clues. I get it, right? But that doesn't give you the green light to just go and try to copy everything that one of your competitors is doing. And this comparison game is leading to a lot of self-doubt. It's leading to a lot of imposter syndrome. And people are literally, how do I say this without saying it? They're getting inches from the finish line and sabotaging themselves because of this comparison game.
3 feet from gold.
Yeah, that's a great book, by the way. And I'm kind of getting sick of it. I'm kind of getting sick of it because I'm looking at us as grown ass people, men and women. And I'm saying to myself, what is social media doing to our mental health? Because if any of us have kids that are watching, know that they are sponges to what we do. So if we can't get it together on our social media platforms, not only as businessmen and women, but as people, what are we showing our kids? What are we showing the next generation? And so, Oase, I would love to get your take on what you think.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quote from someone that I know. He always says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And imagine if you're riding a bike. Imagine if you're riding a bike and you see someone else come in and they've got a bike that you find very appealing, like whatever that design, the brand, whatever it is. Now you start admiring the bike while you're riding yours. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there's a parked car that you don't see coming right at you. You're heading for that parked car. While you're still admiring that bike zooms on, you hit the car.
Head on.
Are you still enjoying that bike ride?
It's the same thing. That is a great analogy.
So
it is yes.
Focus on the direction that you're heading. And as long as you keep your eyes forward, you're going to be able to redirect your business, that bike that you're riding, in the direction that you've envisioned for it to go.
Yeah. Well, and here's my next question to the audience is, how do you feel about people that copy other people? How do you feel about businesses that copy other businesses? What's your feelings toward that copycat business? Right. And I also asked this question in the description of this video. What are you using social media for? Is this a fucking popularity contest? Or is this to get out there and actually help people?
Yeah. Define your purpose. Get clear on your purpose, right? What do you and I help do in that initial phase for our clients? We get them clear on their vision, their mission, their purpose, their values, right? So they don't run into this situation when they're going out there comparing themselves to their competitors, and then getting completely overwhelmed by the fact that, oh, this person has this many followers, and now you're validating your success, or you're validating your own capabilities because you're so uncertain about what you help your clients achieve. Yep. You're so uncertain about that because you have no clarity. So it all goes back to how you started this entire conversation about the clarity.
That's a big prompt. Joseph K says, hopefully help others. Yeah, I hope so too, Joe. But what I'm seeing is people would much rather watch themselves than be out on social media helping others. Now I'm talking from a business perspective here. Okay. What you guys do on social media personally, I'm not going to get into that conversation today. That could be another story. I just want to focus on business owners today, because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing clients of mine burn out because they feel shackled to social media. And so it's crazy that this was the topic of one of my coaching calls the other day, because I literally went through this just a few months ago this year. It was earlier this year. I would say it was around the summertime where I started to feel extremely burnt out. I was doing 4 live streams a week. I was posting 3 times a day on Instagram. I was on every platform. And I really wasn't seeing the growth. I wasn't seeing the return, right? For the time and energy and money, because I was paying a team to help me manage all of this. And I literally got to a point where I said, maybe and then here again, the self-doubt comes in, because I'm looking at competitors. I'm doing exactly what I'm telling everybody not to do. I'm doing it. I'm comparing myself to others. The self-doubt is coming in. I'm thinking to myself, do I just suck at this after 14 years? This is what I'm saying to myself in my head. It's not true. But what's going on? So I said to myself, well, something needs to radically change here, because I feel myself like getting to the edge of the cliff and wanting to jump. And so what did I do? I said to myself, well, what's making you unhappy? Just like my client said, I feel too shackled to social media. I feel too reliant of it for my business to grow. This is a problem. This is a problem. I feel like another thing that I felt was I felt like a slave to the algorithm. And I really felt like social media was controlling me, and I wasn't controlling my social media. And this is why I'm doing this video today. So what I did was I said, you know what? I am cutting my social media presence in half. In half. Not going to be doing all those live streams anymore. I'm going to cut my podcast to 1 a week. I'll come out here twice a week on live streams, and I'll do one Monday. I'll do one Wednesday. I'll have a waste join me moving forward, so it's not just me. So we get some conversation and dialogue going. And I'm going to cut it back. Here's what happened. My gas tank of happiness started to fill. And I felt so much happier, where I was going outside doing different things with my family and my new dog and all these things. And I just felt like, holy shit, I'm 41 and I finally feel like I'm living life, because the past 14 years, not just the not the past 15 years. I would say the past 4 or 5 years where I've really been on social media hard. I don't feel like a slave anymore. I feel like I'm actually taking control over my social media. And I started to enjoy my life as a human being and as a business owner again. And what I found was people started missing me a little bit. I wasn't as available. I wasn't as present. And it's so funny how that worked out. Then I saw business increase It's crazy how this started to happen. So my question to you is, are you feeling a slave to the algorithm? And are you contributing to all the noise out there on social media, or are you breaking through it? Because that's what we're going to be talking about towards the second half of this show is, how do you break through? How do you break through? So I want to get to some comments here. These are some great comments from Joseph K. Big shout out to Joseph K, by the way. First time I've seen you on my live stream, so I want to give you a huge shout out. Would you recommend getting a professional to do social media, even if I have time to do it myself and I'm doing so? You want to touch on that, Oasis, and then I'll give you my 2 cents?
It depends on what stage you're at in your business, right? And also what your line of business is, right? Really, again, to me, it's when people are just starting out, they're limited on funds, and they can hack and put everything together. Your tools available, perfectly fine. But if you're much further down your business, stay in your lane and hire a professional to manage your brand, to maintain that consistency in your message and your visual identity, so that level of experience for your front-facing customers is one that it's memorable for your customers. So
okay, it's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. I would recommend this. I would ask you this: do you enjoy doing it? Do you have the time, but do you enjoy doing it? And if you do, then do it. If you don't enjoy doing it, maybe it's time to sub it out. The other thing that I would say is, I hire a guy maybe every other month. It used to be once a month, but now it's like every other month. But I hire a guy that kind of keeps me up to speed on sort of the trends of social media, and he basically audits my content and keeps me on rails, because again, I'm trying to do so much, right? And he's helping me see it from an outside perspective, which is so helpful. So maybe you want to bring in somebody who you trust, who's got some chops in the social media world, who's proven themselves as somebody who's a creative that does some pretty awesome things, and maybe just get some coaching sessions from them if you decide you want to do it on your own. So that's that. Joseph also says I built this up myself to a point, and it's at the same that it was a year ago. So I want to build up. So I'm thinking of getting the pros in to help my mission and to help others. Not a bad idea, my friend. Especially, I got my little guy in the back.
And it's good that you recognize that.
Yeah, for sure.
So hats off to you on that, because there's a lot of business owners that they'll say, "Hey, I'll do all this myself."
Yeah, it may be time. It may be time to bring in somebody to help you, like I just got done saying, kind of break through some of the stuff that maybe you just don't see because you're not as pro at it as they are. Exactly. So I think it's important to keep that in mind and to be open to that coaching, as well. So all right. How do you take control of your social media then? How do you feel more in control of what you're doing on social? How are you breaking through the noise instead of contributing to it? And the first thing that I want to say is this: you got to be clear on who you are and what you represent. And always give them the second half of that line.
Yeah. And clarity is just the half of it, right? You got to lean into it day in and day out.
You got to own it.
It is, yeah. You got to lean into that and make sure that people know that that's what you represent. Those are the standards that you come in with. And, there are things that you're unwilling to compromise on.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring in another story. I'm not going to say any names this time because I don't want to incriminate everybody. But I have a family member who we bust his chops all the time because he doesn't do anything that he doesn't want to do. And some family members call him selfish. Some family members love him even more because he's living life on his terms, baby. And he ain't letting anybody make him change his mind. He's not doing anything he doesn't want to do. And man, I give him props for that. Now I know, you get married and there's compromise involved and there's things you got to do sometimes just to do them. I get it. But the majority of the time, this guy's doing what he wants to do. And you know what? I love him for that. So my question to you guys is, are you focusing in on what's bringing you joy? Because when I was feeling that burnout a few months ago, I immediately scheduled a call with my business coach and told him what was going on. And you know what he said to me? Bro, if it's not bringing you joy, why are you doing it? We're not getting any younger. And man, that was it. That could have been the whole call right there. $1,000, 7-minute conversation. And I got at like that was what I needed to hear at that second for me to say, you know what? Yeah, no, doing this 4 times a week, 5 times a week is not bringing me joy.
It's taking that energy out of you.
Yeah. It was killing me. So let's recap real quick. Be clear on who you are and what you represent and make sure that you lean in and own that, because that's what makes you you. Henry Kaminski's taken. Owais Qureshi's already taken. Joseph K is already taken. So why not appreciate who you are as a person a little bit more and realize how special you are?
Own your story. Henry's got a story. I've got a story, right? From time to time, we get that opportunity on here or on other platforms to be able to discuss that story, but own it.
Exactly.
That's your differentiator there.
I love it. Let's see here. Social media is the way I need to go with my work in mental and sexual health, STD prevent, especially in a time of limited resources and COVID. But technology is overwhelming and confusing. But it's the way a small voice can be heard. Yes. So this brings up a good point. Okay. Your voice. And if you're constantly comparing yourself to other social media accounts and competitors, if you're constantly feeling that self-doubt and imposter syndrome, how strong do you think your voice sounds to an audience? That's what I'm trying to get you to realize today.
You're going to be conveying anxiety. And look, I can talk about this endlessly from my own experience, where I was a year ago, right? And this is why one of the topics that you and I wanted to discuss was, what have we learned from this year? And so where I was a year ago, I was going through everything that we have just talked about in this topic, right? The imposter syndrome, comparison. One of the things that we didn't mention was the fear of judgment, right? All of those things are really just fears that shouldn't have power over you, and fears that distract you from where you're going. Mm-hmm. And so what's going to end up happening is you're going to be riding that bike right into the parked car. Mm-hmm. Right. So what tends to happen is you go in and you're uncertain when you're letting all of that distract you. You show up as someone that's uncertain. You show up as someone that is anxious. You show up as someone that isn't leaning into what you represent, that isn't taking ownership of your story. And if you're conveying that type of an emotion externally, if you're projecting that, guess what you're going to be attracting? You're going to be attracting anxiety. You're going to be attracting uncertainty. You're going to be attracting people that don't believe in your brand. And then your sales are going to take a hit.
That's a great point. It's a great point. So I let that one sink in real quick. Then we have Olio again. You know, this is something that Oase and I were talking about offline before we went live. I see social media as a way of finding my tribe. It's hard to connect with people now because the phone screen gets in the way. Right? I was just talking about how this metaverse, what is this metaverse going to have as an effect on our mental health, where people would rather spend the majority of their time in a virtual reality than an actual reality.
Yeah.
I mean, look what's going on right now in the gaming world. It's kind of there. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of exactly what we're talking about.
At least over a decade. But yeah, I mean, it just that is continuing to compound.
Yeah.
And we're going to get more and more immersed if we allow for ourselves to, right? I always give this example. For 84,000 generations, from our we're still wired as we were wired initially in the Stone Age. So for 84,000 generations, we were in the what's called the Paleolithic stage, where we were hunter-gatherers and nomadic people for 84,000 generations, right? For only 7 generations, we were in the industrial age. We have only been in the digital age for about maybe at the cusp of the third generation now. And now we're being moved into this whole virtual reality system. Our brains are still trying to catch up.
Yeah.
At a behavioral level, we are still wired to do only two things and two things only: survive and thrive.
So here's I'm conscious of time, so I want to start to kind of wrap up here and help people grab the takeaways. I don't want people to miss these takeaways that are going to help them use social media to grow their brands in 2022, and for them to take control over their social media instead of their social media feeling like it's controlling them. So a couple things. Again, highlighting being clear on who it is that you are, what you represent, and leaning into that and creating a voice around that, like I'm doing right now, like Oase is doing right now on this live stream. Number two, focusing in on what brings you joy. If it's not bringing you joy, why do you continue to do it? Dan Sullivan taught me that years ago when he said, when you feel like you're like waist deep in thick mud, just stop wading in that crap. Turn around and get the hell out of there. Like, stop doing that.
When you're in the hole, stop digging.
Yeah, and Steve Sims said something at his event a couple weeks ago. He said his father used to say this saying, something along the lines of, the only people that actually drowned are the people that stay in the water. So focus on what brings you joy. Start doing more of that. People are dropping like freaking flies this year. In my world, it's horrendous, horrible. And I say to myself, that could be me tomorrow. God forbid. Next thing is focus on what matters most to your customers. What do your customers care about the most? And why aren't you putting that on social media? I'll tell you, the poorest content as far as likes, comments, shares, as far as engagement goes, is the work that I put out showcasing my work. That gets no love. It gets a fraction of the love that I typically get from a meme.
Yeah.
You and I were joking about this last week.
That
one of your highest performing posts on your account was a meme.
That is so frustrating, man.
Yeah. But here's what I want. Here's what I want to point out. I looked at a video that I posted on Instagram yesterday. It got like 120 something views. Okay. That's 127 people. Now imagine my office with 127 people in it looking at one of my videos. It's pretty crowded. That's a lot of people. But what happens is we look at the big picture, and we'll get a post that gets a couple thousand video, and then we'll look at that 127 views as shit. It's not shit, guys. That's 127 people that cared to watch that thing. What about the 50 people that commented on it? That's 50 people that said to themselves, you know what? I want to chime in here. That's okay, guys. Stop listening to these big gurus out there that are saying that, 100 something likes is no good and 100 something views is no good. Listen, it only takes one person out of that 127 to book a consult with you, to book a gig with you, to sign up for your coaching, to sign up for your program. Let's start thinking about that for a second. And stop worrying about views, likes, comments, shares, all that bullshit. Right? Your sales is the most important thing in your business. If you don't have them, you're dead.
And look, Henry, it all comes back down to the same thing. It's like, look, have you set up a very clear vision and a very clear path towards generating the types of sales that you want for a sustainable business? And if you have, well, then stay aligned to that. And ask yourself, when you're in these moments of uncertainty and you're in these moments of comparing yourself to these accounts that only validate their success and validate their capability through their likes, through their followers, through the comments that they're generating, go back to that. Go back to your vision and ask yourself, does me comparing to these accounts align with my long-term vision, and does it serve that long-term vision?
Yes. Yes.
And
your vision has to be clear to your audience and matter to your audience.
Absolutely.
Okay? It doesn't have to matter to everybody. Okay? So share your vision with people that are congruent with it. And
exactly.
Yeah, you're going to have to leverage social media to do that. But if you share your vision with somebody who's quick to poo-poo it, that's not your tribe. Forget them.
And it's not meant for everyone.
Exactly.
Don't expect for it to be meant for it to be resonate with everyone.
Exactly. And that's sort of the big picture I want everybody to grab today is, please, guys, if you take anything out of this video, understand why you're on social media and just be honest with yourself. And if it's for views, then okay, own that and do what you got to do to get more views. But if you're using it for business, if you're using it to help people, don't get so caught up on the vanity metrics and focus on purely caring for the people that you serve. And if a post gets 27 likes instead of 2,000 likes, don't delete it. Don't delete it. Because somebody's going to come across one day and say, that post touched me and hit me at the right time in the right place. And now I'm going to do business with you. And I like what Joe said here. Every one person, if it's impacted that person, you've done your job. You'd be surprised. You know, not everybody is going to post and comment and respond to you, but you may be touching them in ways that you've never believed. Quick story. When my dog died in August, I told you about this keychain I got in the mail. It's made out of metal, and they took a picture of my dog off social media, and they made this beautiful keychain. And on the back of it, it said Canella, beautiful boy, because in one of my posts, I talked to him about, I said his name, and I always referenced him as my beautiful boy. And they put that on the back of that engraved, and they sent it to me anonymously. I still don't know who the hell gave that to me. And it's driving me nuts, but it just goes to show that they wanted to remain anonymous. Yeah. And that I'm out here touching people that I probably will never meet in my life. So that's my life's work. That's what I love to do. That's why I show up every 2 days, and I put these out every Monday and Wednesday with Always, because he has similar values to me. That's why we do it together. Right. And so I just want you to understand that. So when you lean into who you really are, and you're not afraid to express that, your voice is going to develop into a stronger voice. And it's going to resonate and rattle people. And they're going to really understand what you stand for. That's what I want you guys to drive home today with. Put that out there. Okay. I don't need to be the next Gary V. I don't want to be the next Gary V. If anything, I want to be this guy who connects with people that he loves to work with, that have the same values as he has the same mission that he has, wants to get out there and leverage their talents and their expertise to go out and make this world a better place. Those are the people that I want to work with. And I constantly say it over and over, because if I don't, then the people watching and listening are going to be like, am I part of his tribe? Do I like him or do I not like him? You got to call your audience out so they know what you stand for. And at the end of the day, this is going to create a tremendous amount of confidence deep down. You're not going to have to compare yourself to anybody anymore. And you're going to start focusing in on the value that you bring to the table. That's what people are waiting for. So get your ass out there and do it, and stop worrying about everybody else. That's what I wanted to get off my chest today. And now I can sleep better at night. So I appreciate everybody. Peter Butler, Joseph K, Olio Loki. I see Michelle. Michelle popped in for a hot second. Like, all of you guys, we love you, because we appreciate you for coming on and sharing your voice with us today. It's not just us shouting at you. I started to shout because I'm getting more passionate about it the more I talk about it. But I really want you guys to take this home with you today, so you don't fill yourself with self-doubt. You don't fill yourself with comparison and imposter syndrome. And you get out there and you start being who you truly are, because that's what we're going to love you for. Period. End of story.
These are topics we're not necessarily just passionate about. We've lived through them, right? We've had to encounter many of these obstacles and our, in our own lives, and then try to overcome them one way or the other.
That's it.
We're just sharing. We're just sharing our war stories, our scars with you.
Yeah.
So that again, you don't feel like you're alone, and that happens for a lot of business owners, especially. There is that. There are those moments where you feel like, oh man, I feel like I'm going through this by myself. No, there's many of you out there that have those same shared struggles.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, that's the thing. And I don't want you to get discouraged because your competitor has 200,000 followers more than you. And it's a shame that people say, because this happened to me recently. Somebody was like, oh shit, he's got 150 something 100,000 followers on Instagram. And then right away, like what? My stock is higher because what if I still did shit work? And I know people out there that do what I do that are way better than me, got fucking 500 followers. Talk to me about that. So you're going to judge somebody based on their follower fucking count? How shallow are you? It's like you don't want to date me because I'm short.
Should I share this? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to share this.
Shoot.
So a couple of years back, I hired someone on board, and one of his things was that he wanted to inflate my social media image, and he wanted to inflate my social media following.
I remember this.
And we parted ways a couple of months later. He starts his own shop, goes in excess of about 200,000 followers. To this day, because of our very temporary association, I have gotten calls from people within my own network that have called me and said, hey, you know what? We actually decided to work with him. We weren't happy at all. We didn't get what we were promised.
Fucking hack.
So is his following 200,000 plus followers, is that a validation of his capabilities? No.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why put your work out there, show how you're helping people. And who cares if it gets 100 views or 100 likes or 100,000 likes or 100,000 views. People want to know how you can help them, and they want to see how you do it. So you got to put it out there. Pete says, I've read some companies look at your Instagram, and that amount of followers will dictate whether they're hired. Yeah. And that to me is shallow as fuck.
Yeah. And again, it's a reflection on the decision makers of those companies and what they know about social media and what they know about, and again, they'll learn the hard way. Some of these companies, sure, they'll have, or some of these companies that have that large of an Instagram following are true to what they provide. Then there's some of them that will actually pay an outsourced provider to give them tons and tons of followers. They're completely fake.
Completely fake. I've seen it. The whole giveaway thing and everything that my business coach said to me years ago, and this is why I'm so passionate about this. He said, earn your followers. Because I was doing a lot of shout outs at the time on these bigger accounts, and that's not buying followers. It's basically buying attention on their accounts. Right. But I would get influxes of followers when I would do that. Right. And that's how I built up my account. And so when I told him that that's what I was doing, he was like, okay, that's good. It's kind of that's marketing. I get it. But he was like, why don't you try earning your followers and see how that goes? And I was like, I like that better. And if you think organic reach is dead, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. All these online marketers out there saying, "Oh, if you're not running ads, you don't really have a business." Fuck you. I know plenty of people that I haven't ran an ad in fucking 3 years on Facebook, and my business is doing just fine. 2 Comma Club Award number 2 this year. So prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong. So get out there and share your story, share your expertise, help people, focus on the value you deliver, focus on generating sales on social media, and lean into what you truly stand for. That's how you're going to take control of your social media in 2022. And you are going to be a force to be reckoned with if you do this consistent. And you know what? The more you do it, the stronger the muscles. And you're going to get better and better and better at it. Let me just finish up with this and then I'm done. Wouldn't you think everything would change for everyone if you couldn't see followers? Yeah. Listen, I see them doing that now in the US. I see it. They like turn it on and off. Like I notice it. Like
disable that.
Yeah. So I didn't know if it was a thing that you could control or not, but I know in like Australia or something, they stopped it years ago, like a year or so ago. You can't see who follows who, or you don't know how many likes or views you get. But man, don't let those vanity metrics fool you, man, because focus on the work and make sure that you feel confident in their work.
Absolutely.
That's should be a purchasing decision value there, not how many followers they have.
Exactly. Demonstration of how they help you get to your desired outcome. Demonstration of not necessarily just their work, but their process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'll know whether what their follower count is consistent with their capability.
Yeah, man, this is so true, Olio. I can't disagree with you, man. And again, that's the problem. People don't know what's real anymore. And that's something that, we have to do as parents and we have to do as leaders, is to help people see through the bullshit.
Absolutely.
by being an example. By being an example. Okay. So Pete says vanity metrics, write that down. Yeah, that's it. We went way over, guys, but I'm happy that we have such an engaged audience to the end. And I just didn't want to just knock it, cut it off in 30 minutes, but appreciate all of you guys. Joseph K, for the first time being live with us. Thank you. I look forward to having you back every Monday, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Olio Loki, I recognize your name from the past, so appreciate you coming back and spending some time with us today. And Michelle's always been an avid watcher, so I want to say big shout out to you. And Pete's always been a big fan as well, so big shout out to Pete Butler, and big shout out to you, man, always for being so consistent with me on this show. And putting in the work and building those muscles and strengthening your voice. I've seen you come a long way since we started doing this, and I just want to congratulate you again, man.
You brought me on here, and I'm forever thankful for that. You've developed a brand for yourself, and I've told you this offline. There's like, hey, it's a huge risk bringing someone on board and not knowing what the dynamics are going to be like. So. Thanks for taking a chance on me, man. It's been a hell of an experience, and continue to come back in and provide whatever insights I can to your audience.
It's a pleasure, bro, and keep up the great work. You're doing amazing, and I can't wait to see what you do in 2022, man. Really,
me neither. Excited.
Big bro hug here live on before we wrap up. So there you guys have it. Again, if you guys are interested in working with me a little bit more closely in building and strengthening your brand's voice, your brand's identity, your brand's messaging, the positioning online, the first step is to book a brand assessment. You could do that right here through this website, uniquedesignz.net. Just click the button, book an assessment. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube or follow me on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you're watching this right now, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you drop some comments, and hit that bell so you know when the hell we go live. But again, thanks again for everybody tuning in. What a great conversation today. And drop one of the biggest takeaways in the comments below here today. So I'm going to see what you took from this conversation. Have an amazing day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.
That's